The Menace Tech Show.
Welcome to the Menace Tech Show, a show for HVAC professionals by HVAC professionals.
I like how you guys bounce back and forth between heat pump talk and food talk.
The Menace Tech Show.
Mitsubishi.
All right, so we just had breakfast, and the scrambled eggs here, they're like runny and creamy.
Yeah.
That's the way scrambled eggs are supposed to be. And people are complaining because they're too runny, they're too,
They are too running.
But that's the right way for scrambled eggs. When you overcook scrambled eggs, there's no liquid in them. If I made eggs like this at home, my wife would say, "You made them wrong. These are no good. I don't like these." Then that's what she sounds like.
You think they're
And
really
I'm sure that's what she sounds like.
No, they probably buy the restaurant style eggs where they just buy the eggs already mixed, liquid eggs. Yeah.
Do you think the chickens are friends on the farm?
Do you think?
Yeah,
Are
'cause
they
no, they're friends.
cage-free?
No, but I can tell you that the cows and the pigs are friends because they stay together forever, like a bacon cheeseburger.
Oh.
They start off on the farm together as
Bacon
friends.
cheeseburger.
Yeah. But anyway, these are the real way to make eggs. When you overcook eggs, they're just hard, no liquidy, but then they're nice and creamy and they're flavorful.
You can keep them.
They got the chorizo, they got the bacon was extra crispy, which I love.
When I make scrambled eggs at home, I shut the flame off. I got an electric stove, so I shut the element off. Right when it starts to congeal in the
Yes.
pan.
Yeah.
And I just use the residual heat to
Yes.
cook the rest of the eggs.
You need low heat
That's
to
the way
cook.
you're supposed to cook eggs.
You need low
Don't
heat
say
to
yes,
cook
Bryn,
eggs.
because you hate eggs.
He had eggs.
I choked down
He ate
scrambled eggs. I did. I choked
Bryn's
it
like,
down.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I watch YouTube too.
Oh, we were sitting together. We were all,
YouTube on how to eat eggs.
Well, I've seen Gordon Ramsay cook an egg. I know how to do the scrambled eggs.
But we were sitting together for breakfast. Juan, for some reason, decided to sit at another table, and I saw him actually eating eggs. I was surprised.
Now,
I was
Gordon
told.
Ramsay.
I was told. This is the last time I'm going to see you sit together.
Oh, whoever. I don't know.
Look at us now.
just you.
Yeah.
Oh, it was just me, huh?
We're sitting together now.
But going back to Gordon Ramsay, he uses sour cream, or he calls it
Creme fraiche.
creme fraiche.
Yeah.
Right at the end.
Creme fraiche is not sour. Is creme fraiche sour cream the same thing?
Yeah, I think it is.
Similar.
And it's just used to cool the eggs down.
Yeah.
So you get that
Nice,
runny,
creamy.
nasty eggs like
Listen,
you like.
this is gonna sound nasty, but I'm gonna tell you, I started doing this from that girl Nicole McLaughlin on All Recipes. I took my fork before I take the 3 eggs or 4 eggs and I crack them.
Yeah.
I take the fork and I dip it in the Duke's mayonnaise and I use that to whisk the eggs.
Mhm.
The mayo mixed in there,
Is it good?
you can't taste the mayo. It's not like it doesn't. It sounds crazy, but it makes them. I'd rather do that than cream. They come out there so good. So
I think
try a
some of
little
our
mayo.
listeners
Yeah.
driving a van right now threw up in their mouth.
That's all right. Yeah.
Okay, you just try it.
An egg-based condiment.
It's the same thing. Have you tried?
Scramble your
Remember,
eggs.
I told you to put mayonnaise on the bread when you're making grilled cheese. Have you tried that yet? Because you do mayonnaise and butter.
Yeah, oh
It's
yeah,
delicious.
no, yeah, grilled cheese, that's a different thing. Yeah.
Chris Terranova is
Just walking by.
Hey,
We're gonna
just
have,
distracting
by.
us while
we're gonna have him on the
doing
show.
He's,
We're gonna-
he's quite the individual.
It was showing us
He
his
was,
muscles.
yeah, showing us his cannons. Absolute cannons. You know what's funny? So I was at Market Basket the other day, and we had to buy eggs, and every single option said cage-free on it. Like there wasn't
they don't put-
even their cheapest eggs were cage-free, and I was like, "Well, I want a caged egg.
No, but-
What if I want a caged
Yeah,
egg? I didn't
maybe
have the
sometimes
option."
we want caged eggs.
No,
If every
listen,
egg is cage-free, you don't have to put it on the box.
no, they don't put the eggs in cages. Is what they mean by that. The chickens can't move.
It's called a crate.
The chickens are sitting there in a shoebox. They can't move, but the eggs are fine. And they say antibiotic free on the chicken.
Yeah.
Which it's illegal to have antibiotics in chicken. So and it's like when they put gluten free on potato chips. It's just a marketing scheme.
Have you ever
potato
had-
chips? Don't
I
have
don't know if
gluten.
you saw
Never have.
the signs for the food. It also says that the bacon was dairy and gluten free.
Yeah.
Well, I would hope so.
Yeah, but that's a marketing scam.
But have you ever had a free roaming egg?
No, although I have seen some eggs
I've
where
never
like
seen
the
an egg.
yolk is
I've
really
never
orange.
seen an egg.
There is such a thing, free roaming eggs.
But no, the eggs don't roam free. The chickens do. Listen, I let my chickens roam free, and I get my eggs. We told you this before. The eggs, when you crack a home egg, one of my chicken's eggs, and you crack a store-bought egg, the difference in color
It
is
is a difference.
astonishing.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
it's like really orangey yolk,
Bright
almost
orangey.
like a reddish.
Yeah.
It's really dark.
And then,
yeah,
and then the store eggs are this dim yellow.
yeah.
That's right. Anyway, welcome everybody to the Metis Tech Show.
Hey, remembered this time.
Once again, we are still at the 2025 DSG conference
Yes.
in Round Rock, Texas.
Yeah.
This is, I think, one of like 3 or 4 conferences I have coming up for the rest of the year. We got the Heat Pump Summit in November. I don't know when this podcast is coming out. We might be after or before the Heat Pump Summit, but that's
Be
November
close, yeah.
18th and 19th. I got the iHockey. I forget what that is. It's a California trade school thing in Pasadena. I forget when I'm going to that. We got the ACTI conference.
Yep.
We're going to that in Nashville. In December. I got an engineering summit in December in Denver. I don't know who
Oh, yeah.
decided to go to Denver in December. But I'm looking
We'll probably
forward
have to
that.
take a snowcat there.
Yeah, probably.
We'll have to rent snowcats at the
I'm gonna
airport.
have to have suitcases just for my jackets and coats and gloves and mittens and stuff. So
Ooh, that's a good point.
I looked it up though, and there are hot springs about a half hour from where we're going to be. So we can go do some. Well, I'm going to go do some.
yeah,
hot
I'm
tub.
not doing that. I'm going to turn the heat up and stay in my hotel. So anyway, so what are we going to talk about this episode?
Well, we're just going to stay on track with what we were talking about and what we've been doing, which is just kind of going over the instructors that are teaching at the DSG conference and just kind of an overview of what they're teaching. And so I figured we could do my course, which is basically 3 sections. The first is the A2L updates, which, if you are a follower of the podcast, have already heard a lot about because we did an entire podcast called What We've Learned.
Yep.
And that essentially material that I used for that podcast is the material that I'm using for instructing this DSG conference. So, it was actually funny at the end of class yesterday. I have a slide on there that has a QR code for our podcast. And I was like, guys, I implore you to follow our podcast because if you do, you would have already heard all of this information already.
Right.
Because it was the same material. And then the next one was Ecodan, which we've also done the intro to the Ecodan. So that was my other section of the class is the Ecodan. And then the last is the Intelli-heat 454B update.
All right, so that was good. So we can go through the other 2 real quick as a quick review, and then we'll go over the Intelli-heat. One of you guys have your alarm going off.
I just checked. It's not me.
Yeah, one of you have it because it's driving me crazy.
I just heard it.
Okay. All right.
It's only going on for a while.
Yeah.
All right. So sorry about that,
Hearing
folks.
bells.
No, we know it was Bryn. He had his alarm was going off.
Yeah. The start of the clock
time
is
to
the
lift
oh crap
weights.
alarm.
All right.
Time to pump some iron.
You're very familiar with that, are you?
Listen, I was just going to say, I cannot wait to see Jack Steve because he's been in there, but more in the gym more than I have this week.
Yeah.
So he's doing the thing. I cannot wait to see Jack Steve.
Working on my
The guns.
Yeah, he's sitting there doing
Your 21st
pull
birthday.
downs.
He's been working on his pistols.
new watch.
Yeah.
Anyway, we digress. All right, so let's do a quick review on the A2L stuff, what you're covering in your class. Let's do a quick review on the Ecodan stuff, and then let's get into the meat and potatoes and what we haven't discussed on the show yet.
Sure. So the first is the A2L updates is basically some of the things that we've learned, like the SV4 on the Smart Multi and how it has a check ball in there. And so we don't see it energize in heating mode, but it does energize in cooling mode. We go over the process of recharging a Smart Multi in the event of a leak. If we have a completely dry system and we need to recharge it, we go through the steps in the process. And we discussed it on the podcast, but it's really important because if you don't do it properly, there's a potential risk of you introducing nitrogen and running the system with nitrogen in it.
Which is an uncondensable.
Yeah, so we obviously don't want that. So I'm really trying to nail home to our DSGs because really they're the forward-facing. I mean, have the most contact with the actual contractors and technicians who are going to be doing these, recharging situations. They're dealing with the leaks, so we want that information out there so that if there are any questions, they can answer them. So we covered that. We covered refrigerant sensors, where they're located in each unit, how to replace them, because that can be helpful. As long as they have that information, they can help deliver that. And then we talked about some of the odd things like that thermal protector and what happens to the system when the thermal protector were to trip or to actually fail.
Now, I was in the room for some of that stuff, but I didn't hear the thermal protector. How did they take to that?
Here's the thing is, DSGs are really smart. They know our products really well. And so when you introduce something like that they've never seen before, it can be a little bit overwhelming to be like, oh, there's another thing I have to remember. But some of them were right on it. They're like, hey, if I see that 4 volts constant on S2 and S3, I got to make sure to check that thermal protector. And that's the one note you have to take away from that. If you have a comm error and you see 4 volts as your S2, S3 voltage, and it's a constant 4 volts, check your thermal protector.
And the important thing here is that's not in the manual anywhere.
No.
You learn that by testing it and
Correct.
Tricking it out. So we have to make sure that if you listen to the last podcast and then this one now you're listening now, that is not written anywhere.
Right.
Constant 4 volts DC. Check the thermal protector on the compressor.
Yeah.
It's not written anywhere, so memorize that.
And that's across S2 and S3.
On S2 and S3, yep, DC voltage.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's the FX and the GX, right?
So it's the
it's different on
true
the
M
GX.
series outdoor units. So if it's an
Okay.
M series outdoor unit, not a ported,
Right.
not a smart multi.
Right.
And the reason for that is because with the ported and the smart multi, the thermal protector is wired in series with your high pressure switch.
Correct.
So if either one trips, you're going to get the same error codes you always had for
Right.
the high pressure switch. And in the diagnostics, it will tell you check your thermal protector.
You have to check them both.
With the M series 1-to-1s, it goes into a comm fault and it does not say anything about a thermal protector in the troubleshooting. So it's one of those things to
The
remember.
M series, not the ported and SUZ,
The smaller SUZ.
smaller SUZ. Okay, so
Yep. So the reason why we have that's basic compressor protector, thermal protector, it trips at 248 degrees, and it's just a bimetal switch. So we feed it the same voltage that we would feed the high pressure switch. It's at 75 volts DC with the AC potential. But because it's not wired in series, it's its own circuit on the true M series, and typically it is going to be right where your UV and W terminals go into your compressor.
Mhm.
So you'll either find it under the plastic cover or mounted very close to those terminals. And essentially, it's like, I always think of it like a furnace high limit, right? It opens at 248 degrees. There's probably some hysteresis. It doesn't close until it gets, below 200 or something. I don't actually know that number. But the point of it is to keep that compressor, that location from overheating because of the A2L. It's a UL requirement.
I think we should do a TechLink video on that, just that specific
Just
thing.
that
And by the way, speaking of which, if you're on YouTube and most of you have it on your phone, search for the Metis Training Network. Besides the videos of these podcasts that we've been starting doing recently, you also have some TechLinks videos on different topics and other things on there. So check that out, and you guys keep making those videos and knocking them out, putting them up there from time to time. So it's a good resource, and you learn stuff like this. Just another way of keeping up to date with all the technology.
Yeah, absolutely.
And one little quick sidebar, I just want to give you, Bryn, some kudos. Prayers go out to Don Gillis. Don Gillis was going to be here in the general session for us, and he just had some major surgery. The poor guy's in a lot of pain, can't walk, lost the use of his arm. So we wish him well. We wish him a speedy recovery.
Yes.
And through a glitch, and it wasn't Don's fault, because Don's not this kind of guy, but we didn't know it until 2 hours before he was supposed to be here. And you with very little notice. And if we hadn't have known that you only had 2 hours to prepare, we wouldn't have known you only had 2 hours to prepare, because it was a great presentation. You knocked it out of the park, and you went over some of the A2L stuff, the mitigation stuff, things we've talked about.
Yeah.
And it was very good. And then we had a Q&A with a lot of good questions on there, some dumb questions, but mostly good.
Yeah, I think it went really well. Given the time to prepare, I think
There are no
it
dumb
was useful.
questions.
Oh, yes, there are. Were you listening yesterday? There was several of them.
There's no such thing.
I only fielded about 3 or 4 questions about how to open the LEVs. So,
Oh yeah. Sometimes
Yeah, that
they
was
can't
pretty
help-
dumb.
They just love to ask questions.
oh yeah, absolutely,
And
absolutely.
most of the dumb questions were our own employees, so it wasn't even the DSGs.
Bryn got into the weeds yesterday with some of the topics.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with what he was talking about. It's just new stuff.
Exactly.
And new stuff can become kind of controversial.
Yeah,
And
and
people say, "Oh my God,
what,
why is that changing?"
I'm not going
Things change.
I'm not going to say that it's a dumb question. When people ask, "Why is this designed this way?" Well, nobody at this table designed anything.
Unfortunately not, yeah.
So we have no idea
Yeah.
sometimes why they designed it. But these engineers are wicked smart, and they know what they're doing. So we got to trust in them.
Yeah.
All right. So anyway, so that's the A2L
Yep.
review, and it was, what was the other review?
I introduced the Ecodan.
Ecodan, okay,
Because,
which we
again,
just did that.
Yeah, we've done the podcast on it and essentially covered a lot of the same information. Just talked about some of the inputs, the outputs, and then just kind of hydronics basics. So there's a small section in there just on the basics of hydronics, what a hydronic system is, the major components. And the reason for that is because as these guys are all great and they're very smart about our product, but we haven't had hydronics products.
Right.
And there's parts of the country that don't do hydronics. So it's kind of setting the groundwork for this is what's coming. Here's the hydronics overview, just what you need for a system to work. And then I applied that to the Ecodan itself and just showed a sample build of what it would look like to build a system and what options you have.
Right.
Right, so good.
And then the last one was some of the Intelli-heat update. So because the 454B version should be releasing sometime in the future, we have this inside the install manual. They're going to have this quick startup guide, which is incredibly helpful. And that quick startup guide has how to set your function settings depending on your application. If you're using a third-party thermostat, if you're using a Mitsubishi controller, they have added a couple function settings. They've added mode 9, which allows you to only use the economic balance point on the Intelli-heat instead of the economic and the capacity. We can actually ignore that capacity balance point through a function setting. And then we added another function setting for what your economic balance point is. So instead of, it used to be modes 8 and 10 set our economic balance point, well, we also added 14.
Correct.
And that gives us just more options because we're of the standard versus hyperheat edition.
Just for the folks that don't know, can you just explain exactly what the economic balance point is and why you'd want to use it?
Yeah. So your economic balance point is the outside temperature at which you stop running your heat pump and start running your fossil fuel. And realistically, the economic balance point is ever changing based on your kilowatt hour cost and your fuel cost, right? And so this is a case coil that's meant to go on top of a gas furnace. At some point, at a certain outside ambient temperature, the amount of output that heat pump will create or generate is going to cost more than it will for that furnace to run. And so that outside temperature is where you would ideally set your economic balance point. Now, in some states like Massachusetts, they actually have, depending on your fuel type, will tell you what your maximum economic balance point will be. And that is to factor in the cost. And so essentially it's just that tipping point of at what outside temperature do I want to stop running my heat pump and start running my gas furnace.
Yeah. I know when I put in my unitary standard heat pump 25 years ago, I was required at that time to have a sensor, an outdoor sensor,
Correct.
to prevent, in my case, it was electric backup heat, to prevent that from coming on if the temperature, and I want to say it was 38 degrees. I don't remember what it was, but there was a certain outdoor temperature at which I was required to not allow the electric heat to come on, either an auxiliary. An emergency, it would work, but not an auxiliary mode, not as a backup heat. So it would make the heat pump run, it was doing fine well below that temperature. Anyway.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So, getting those out of the way, kind of educating on some of the new stuff because of the additional function settings. There's going to be the PAC 446 third-party thermostat interface. So we're updating from the 445 up to the 446. And that is because we still need to be able to set those function settings, but that means we need additional dip switches. We got to have more dip switches in order to set the function settings because we no longer have a Mitsubishi controller if we're using something third-party. So they created a new third-party thermostat interface called the PAC 446. So I just covered some of that. And a lot of these were just copy-paste from that quick startup guide, and it shows the wiring diagrams. If you're using a Mitsubishi controller, if it's single-stage, dual-stage, if you're using a third-party thermostat interface for single-stage and dual-stage, and all of the wiring diagrams from the board on the control box down to the furnace and up to your PAC 445 and third-party thermostat. So they're really good quality wiring diagrams, and they're basically like the ones that you created, Steve, for the Intelli-heat course. Yeah. They look almost identical, but it's going to be included in the quick startup guides, which is great because now we don't have to necessarily attend training to get those wiring diagrams.
And by the way, Steve did put these diagrams together just for our own use.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, Steve was like,
Everyone wants them.
No, the distributors are using them, and they say, I got these from Mitsubishi.
Yeah.
You know,
But we're emailing them to people.
yeah.
Well,
no,
basically, it drove me nuts because you would open up the installation manual. I know listeners are going to agree with this, and you just see black and white.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I for training, I put in nice colored, vibrant wiring diagrams. I am not an engineer. I don't know CAD.
No.
But
Can't even spell CAD.
I know Visio, and I use Visio quite a bit, and it helped to make those wiring diagrams.
Yeah.
And I love the fact that I gave them the video, the engineering, the video Visio files. and they took them and used them for the new box, and it was kind of like,
But
hey, that's pretty cool.
I thought the thing was funny. Before that happened, there was a distributor that sent them to you and said, "Hey, have you seen these diagrams?"
Yes, I get an email from one of our sales guys, and he says, "Hey, you got to see these wiring diagrams, man. They are amazing." And so made them, and I was, yeah, I would like to see them. They sent them to me, and I was like, "Those are mine."
Yeah.
Is that Anthony? Was it Anthony?
No, it was Brian Christine.
Right.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he got them from the distributor who got them from Steve. And he was like, "Yeah,
You should
That's
have
hilarious.
you should have put your initials somewhere in the wine.
yeah." Why can't we? Why can't we come up with stuff like this?
Yeah. The secret work that we do.
Anyway, anything else in the Intelli-heat that's we need to know?
No, a lot of it is going to be because the relay boards in the control box have changed. We no longer need S1, S2, S3 run to the indoor unit. We only run S2, S3 because we don't need that 208, 230 to power everything. Yeah. And so because of the relay boards changing, we don't have that big, long strip down the middle of the control box for TBA and TBB, one to the furnace, one to your thermostat. They kind of broke it up into smaller sections, and I think it's a little bit more clear this way.
Right. And did you mention capacity balance point, the ability to remove?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So mode 9, to ignore the
shout out to Anatoly in Canada. If he's hearing this, he's probably jumping for joy because when I was paid him a visit 5 years ago. Remember?
Yes, absolutely.
He kept saying mode 11, mode 11. Why can't you give us mode 11? Shut it off. And mode 11's not what it is.
it's mode 9, but
Yes.
So shout out to Anatoly. We did that for you.
yeah.
And one more thing about the new controller on the PAA, there's only one LED. There's no more buttons or anything like that.
Right.
That control panel.
Oh, that's right. You have one in your
I have a
house.
test site.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, how's it working?
It was great.
How often does your furnace come on?
I purposely set my balance point to -10.
Yeah.
My gas heat never came on last winter.
Wow. Nice. And you were comfy.
Oh, very much so.
Yeah.
So we like it cool. So we didn't set it to 72 or anything like that. We set it to 68.
Now, was your electric bill?
It's slightly high. I'm going
crazy?
to play with it. No, it wasn't crazy. It was about the same compared to gas. So, but this year I'm going to set it to 0 to see if my gas heat will come on. Yeah.
Well, that's interesting.
more
So
often.
we'll have to follow up on that after the winter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
Anything else?
No, that's pretty much it.
All right. I want to go over some of the classes because I think we should have. I don't know if we've done this already, but in your classes, the A2L, M&P update, Ecodan, and Intelli-heat. We have an airflow overview, and we got Scott Fielder came in. He's been on our show before. He's doing that with a couple of our ASMs. We got the CAHV installation and startup. That's Gary's doing. We talked to him. Well, you guys talked to him about that already. We have an e-chiller class. So we have an e-chiller. It's not in the U.S. yet. It's in the International Business Unit. They're installing these, great success all over the Central America, South America, the Caribbean. They're installing these. We have an HVRF class, which is who's doing the HVRF?
Chris Terranova.
So Chris Terranova, and we're going to get him on here to talk about what he's discussing in there. And then the Mitsu Case 1. Juan, was that your class?
Yes, and that is on the Mac 334, which is a system control, giving M series equipment, P series, and even further city multi functionality.
All right, so we'll do another episode on that.
Okay.
On that, just to go over that class there. And then the SMEX, I think Ray Alvarez is doing a class on the SMEX, a little overview there. And that's I think we got Mitsu Case 2, which we talked to Ralph and Glenn about that. They were doing that class. And then we have pre-dinner beverages. Oh no, that's not a class.
That was not a class.
I think
Everybody's pretty versed on that one.
Yeah, and let me just tell you, you better talk to people before pre-dinner beverages, not after pre-dinner beverages, because there's post-dinner beverages as well.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
So I just wanted to. So it's a busy week here,
Yes,
and
very
I'm
much
just
so.
going to be honest with you. Other than me presenting yesterday, we recognized some of our DSGs who've qualified to teach certain classes. There was almost 90 people just for initial qualifications, and we didn't have time to go over the people who requalified. There was like another 90 or 100 of them. So the DSGs here take training seriously.
Yes.
They get training and they train people themselves. So it's an important thing. You cannot be in this industry and not take training and not provide. You have to.
Yeah.
So
I remember in my early days when I came on board with Mitsubishi. I mean, 20 was a big number.
Yeah.
So now we're up to 90.
yeah,
It was awesome.
yeah. So we had to do that. But other than that, I really did nothing. I mean,
Shame on you.
You're welcome to teach my class.
4 slack days, as Roland would say.
Kind of a slack day.
Slack day. Yeah. No, but I mean, I've been running around and checking into the classrooms, going in here. I've been in meetings. I got meetings today, and involved in other things. So, but it's nice to see the people enjoying it. I've gotten some good feedback from the DSGs. They say they love it.
Yeah.
So it's one of these things that we do, and I hope we continue doing it next year. And Juan, by the way, you've been around a long time. I believe your refrigerant license number was 3.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Okay. All right. That's it, guys. Anything else for this show?
I think that's it.
That's it.
You'll get started on classes here soon.
All right. Yeah, you got to go prepare. For takes
too.
about 3 seconds to prepare. It takes about Juan an hour and a half.
I used
All right. So we'll see you on the next one.
All right,
See you on the
guys.
next one.
Adios.
See ya.